Greetings, is Silly Kelly. Yeah, from Fanime. This is Friday night. Fanime Con 2019. Friday. Friday, May 24th. So a lot of what you're going to see is actually footage from inside the con because it's Friday and they didn't have as much music playing in the background. So you're going to see some of that. Wasn't as much of the Teddy Ruxpin character this time on the first day, actually, as it turns out, because instead of it being completely vacant of people and everything, there were security people around and other people around and couldn't really have like the gag being that he's walking around on the ground on the convention floor and stuff. Couldn't do that. So yeah, he's in it. Yeah, tomorrow he'll be in it even more because I figured out a better way to hold him. It'll be Werewolf Fuzzy Face. He'll be in the costume as the Chewbacca character until that gets too hot, and then it'll be somebody else. Oh, yeah. So because it was pretty warm today, even with just this one layer in this shirt, pants. There was our the guy that used to be one of the Bacon people, and he was in the Bacon thing years ago. Turns out, he's the one that was commenting on the long blog stuff. He showed up at the beginning of the convention, beginning of the thing. He's mentioned in there. So there were panels and things like that going on, and I'm getting what's that? The con review thingy. Things. There were some panels and things that happened later on. Lunch was at Taco Mama. It was okay. I added a little sauce on it, make it a little less bland. Otherwise, it was pretty bland. They're not La Vix, even though it could have gone to La Vix. I didn't. I didn't want backyard yet. Maybe tomorrow. In honor of the Richardses that are gonna move. About 2 episodes of it. It was called Rascal Doesn't like something like Rascal doesn't like Bunny Senpai girl or something, or doesn't enjoy Bunny Senpai girl, something like that. And in it, the protagonist is kind of a rascal. He's basically a little misogynistic, and he's a young high schooler guy who apparently befriends this ex-starlet girl, kind of like a Cillian, who has kind of like and they don't know about that though. And she has the power to become invisible, apparently, and she doesn't intend to. It's just that because she's no longer famous, it's literally making her disappear from reality. The kid in the story has a sister who has adolescent syndrome, and I guess she does too. This weird syndrome they've made up, in which cyberbullying actually hurts her and the other guy. That like literally physically does scarring. Like somehow that works in that world. They're spiritually damaged by bullying, like without actually touching them. They're damaged by. A very strange idea. I guess she's sort of a ghost then, a spirit. They like that in Japan, I guess. She slowly disappears from everyone else's perspective, but not from his. then one of her friends explained, one of the guy's friends from the science class explains the story of Schradenholder's cat, which is the theory that Schrodinger's cat. That's there's this. It's not a real thing. It's a scientific reality theory thing about a cat placed in a box, and they actually do it wrong in the thing. They actually said, "Oh, there's poison in there, or there's waste in there, nuclear fallout, but they should get out." Actually, no, it's not. It's either there's poison in the box, or there's a means to get out in the box. So does the cat live, or does it die from the poison? Not in the manga, they mess this up because they say, oh, it's a gas that's coming out and it would immediately kill it, or it's nuclear waste that would also kill it. No, that's not how it goes. It's either there's a poison that it eats in the story, or it's a physics thing, or it or it can escape. It's got a hammer or some other tool to pry open the lid and get out. So yeah, which if it had thumbs, it could do that. Actually, try putting a cat in a box with a lid on it. The cats can escape. Anyways, when I first heard the physics story years ago in my 20s in science class, I was like, well, I have a third option. Cat doesn't do either of those things. He just pushes the box lid open and escapes. Needless to say, the science teacher wasn't too pleased about the third option. Even if it was accurate. Clearly, Schradenholder did not actually have a cat. Yeah. Probably would have worked better with a dog. It's a made-up thing that they do in physics. Anyway, so then there was... I don't want to ramble too much about the con stuff. Then there was... Well, the dealer's room opened and all that. Then there was a Macross panel. There was a panel on Super Dimension Fortress Macross by some of the people, experts on Macross. I don't know if they actually were from it. One of them was a voice actor on Macross Plus, which was kind of cool. Or at least he was in attendance. I guess the American dub would be more correct. Yeah, they said Macross 2 isn't canon because it was a different studio, and Robotech is the unmentionable thing they can't mention. And there were two things that were differentiated in there. I think I mentioned on the video that there are two things in there. The one thing is that the one thing is that the Zentradi and the Meltrandi warriors in the original Macross aren't warring with each other because their gender sides are on either side. It's not man and woman. They're just warring with each other to war with each other. And although Super Dimension Macross, the movie, makes it sound like they're split by gender lines to go to war with each other, they're really not. It isn't that. That's not what freaks them out. It's the protoculture, the idea of a previous culture thing throws them off. That they would ever be together is what throws them off. So the kiss thing, all that. They had to make it more blunt in the movie so that you get what's going on. I understand why they changed that a little. And apparently there have been movie versions of the OVA and Macross Zero, which I haven't seen. There's Macross 7. They discussed Macross 7 for some time. They liked it. That was the banned one. I tried to do English dub of that, and was not able to. Of the first episode. Yeah, I'll leave that to other people. It was really impossible. But I do own that because that was from AD Video, and it was actually official, at least probably semi-official third party, and it was on 7 DVDs, and it was all not copy protected, so you could make copies. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to make any copies. I'm not going to sell any. I couldn't have Macross Frontier, but it's a bootleg. It clearly is compressed. It was from years ago on eBay. And I can't get Macross Delta, which I pointed out to them afterward. I said, you can't get that here. You can't even... Yeah, you can watch it like online or something, but you can't buy it. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Also, I was talking to the guy afterward, and he was all... It was all like... like they had the... the Japanese version of Space Climber Matsupita doesn't have Rick Hunter's Expeditionary Force, and yet the American Robotech, the Unmentionable as they called it, Unmentionable movie, they do. They added the lines Rick Hunter in there, even though they're not there in the Japanese, because they have the Japanese one as well, of Robotech, Macross, the 3 Macross series. I have Macross, Space Climber, Macross, I have Southern Cross and Space Climber Matsupita. I have the 3 of those, and they're Japanese dubbed, or you can watch the English version. It's both. It's really cool. It's from 2005 or so. It's really neat. Yeah, it's the whole thing. So I have both of them. So yeah, I've often mentioned them on my when I was doing my Robotech fan films that it was with people. Yeah, apparently they one of them saw that fan film actually. Like, oh, that fan film guy. Apparently, one of those is One of those actually has thousands of about 1,000 views. One of the circle fan film things. I think it's the 65-minute one. He'd actually seen it. He was all like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy. Cool." That was neat. Yeah. So somebody has seen one of my videos. But that's the Unmentionable show. So yeah. But you fixed it so that it was good. But yeah, the next panel was anime and manga for parents. It was basically some old dude, and he was old compared to me, old dude, probably in his 60s. Maybe not that old, but he seemed old. He's going on about what manga anime is safe to watch for kids. I didn't know any of the newer ones, so I didn't know what he was talking about, so it was kind of a waste of time. He did mention Sailor Moon, but that's fine. The American version of that is completely sanitized, so there's nothing in it. The Studio Ghibli stuff is fine for kids. Ranma, not so much. The beginning of Ranma has a bath scene, which may make American audiences squeamish. But yeah, some of the other ones, I think it was Ranma. Might not be. Don't quote me on that. One of those, yeah. Actually, there's a bathhouse scene in Spirited Away as well. They don't think anything of having, like... And really going into a hot tub sauna thing and sitting in it is not really considered offensive. Like, why would it be? They're just in a sauna, so what? They had clothes. They didn't show anything. Come on. But yeah, but apparently they're squeamish over here. So, when he mentioned that and when they brought the Sailor Moon to America, apparently a guy knew Carl Macek, and he's the late Carl Macek, who died a couple of years ago. I did in the circle in dedicated Carl Macek. 2016 or so. But yeah, fixed the thing that he added with the Rick Hunter. But yeah, he did some other dubs that weren't very good, but Carl Macek said you can't dub Sailor Moon and rechange everything into English and have it be L.A. It's got to be just Japan. It's got to take place in Japan. You can't just change all the signage to L.A. It's stupid. Macek said that. That's interesting. I wouldn't think. I think he would have tried to change it actually, but he didn't. The American dub is still the American dub. So the next panel was Beyond Cosplay's Consent or something like that. Something like that in the title. Might be a little off on that. After Cosplay's Consent, the sequel to the one from about 4 or 5 years ago. The sequel. So it had the two of the ladies, the costumers, the armor lady, and the one with the bustier thing. and it had one of the guys, but not the other guy. The other guy was new. And it had a third of the original cast, 2/3 of the original cast. Yeah, but they had 2 guys and 2 girls. They did not go into. This is going on a little long. Yeah, they go on. They did not go into that harassment is bad, because that's a given. They did not go on to that sexual harassment for costumes is bad. They did not go into that. They this time they went into socially awkward convention goers and stuff like convention goers and other cosplayers, usually convention goers, who accidentally like grab your, like they want to like hold your stuff, your armor or whatever, but it's actually not very well built, so it falls apart and they damaged it. There was one guy that apparently grabbed one of the guy's Captain America shields and tried to throw it, even though it was like made out of like plastic or something, and it went. I would have wanted to see it explode. They should have filmed it. Apparently, it went. Yeah, so don't do that. That one lady was wearing a big elaborate Frozen thing with a giant like shoulder pads on the end, and people kept rubbing past it, and pieces of the shoulder pad would fly off, and she'd go after it. It's kind of funny. But yeah, especially if you're in the boxed into a convention. Yeah, basically, so the key points of that were personal space boundaries and things like that. Don't do that. Ask permission to take pictures. And what was interesting is that, well, yeah, it's all in the rules. They were saying about the boundaries of, they were even letting some cosplayers hug them. And I wouldn't even go that far. I'd be like, no. I'm playing a character. Don't do that. I wouldn't want that. I would say no. That's too close. No, can't do that. Sorry. And then they said, don't be afraid to say no if you're a cosplayer who's like shy or whatever. Because you probably are. You're probably a little insecure wearing a costume to try to be a little different than the other people. Of course. Yeah. So you might not say no, but body language might say it. It's harder to read for some people. Some people can't read. Have difficulty reading body language. I have difficulty reading body language. But yeah. But yeah, so also, yeah, they're all going to be awkward at a convention usually, and that's why they're there. So yeah, just be aware of your surroundings and boundaries and things. It's weird enough to be in downtown San Jose, and where like just down the block there's a homeless guy sleeping in a doorway or on a bench or something, or there's a messed up looking lady wigging out about something, or at the coffee shop or something, or a crazy person on a train, as I saw later on the way home. But yeah, yeah, he yelled at the train and called it a bitch, and of course the conductor wouldn't let him on the train. But then I thought, I'm going to get off that train because the crazy guy might try to get back on. So yeah, there was another crazy guy. But back to the consent thing. Yeah, common sense. It was curious though that they mentioned one of the ladies was the one that was the busty lady. She did the busty. Well, she was wearing a bustier. Anyway, so she was wearing a something. I don't know what show it was. I think it was. Oh yeah, she said it was the Academy one. It was two of them were dressed up as my Academia season 2. That's this season. Yeah, that just passed. My Hero Academia characters. That's what they were. One of them was a Miyoshi character, and they were annoyed that he dressed as the wrong guy. So the guy's all, oh man, I could have done that. And they were annoyed. But yeah, what they pointed out as well is, you see these guys with the photography stuff. One of them is into photography. She's also a photographer, and just lets them take pictures and stuff. She's one of the famous people to take pictures. One of the people has done the pictures with the fancy cameras and stuff. So the one with the bus, and she's all they have like a lot of those guys that are running around there, like pretending they're a professional photographer. They just bought an expensive camera and they're just trying to take pictures of girls. So be wary of them too. Yeah. And if they say, "Oh, I would like to do a shoot with you in private," it's like, hell no. Don't do it. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. Yeah. I wouldn't even give out information. What they did say though was that I wouldn't even give them the time of day. Anyway, so somebody could buy a fancy camera just to lure girls into his hotel room. Who knows what might happen? He might film a porno. It's possible. It could totally happen. Don't do that. Yeah. And you'll end up on Pornhub. X hamster or something. God. It could happen. She didn't say that. Yeah, or you end up in a Rule 34 thing. She also mentioned that somebody asked about people that crop your pictures and make it look like crap and then post it on their website and your picture is completely different than what it was. And there's really nothing they can do legally about that because once somebody's taken a picture, that's their intellectual property. They've messed with it. I mean, as long as it's not like defamatory or something. I suppose if they took a picture of a regular nice costume shot and they then only zoomed in on the butt or the boobs or something, that would be horrible. Then you probably could legally say something. I would think. Say look, that picture didn't have that at all. Take that down. I didn't show you that part. What? But yeah. Also, some of them get butthurt if they're complaining about costumes and stuff. And don't do that. Yeah, don't find out what their website is to complain at them about their costume being off, because they'll be critical of their own costume to begin with. So anyway, so it was a lot more calm. It wasn't as woke, so to speak. It wasn't as SJW, so to speak, as the other one was. I think they should just own the SJW thing and say they are, and bring it back to those people that aren't SJW, and just say, look, we own it now. It's ours. You can't have it anymore. So we are warriors of social justice. For real, not just fake ones. But yes, the Cosplays Consent was a movement, I guess, at many of the other conventions. I guess it was bigger in LA than here. But yeah. Of course it was bigger in LA. Everything's bigger in LA. Anyway, I'm going to put together the convention footage now. This is long, so Friday. Okay. I bet I can make that a little more succinct. All right, the first panel that I went to was at 11. It was called "The Inclusiveness in Your Fandom, in Your Nerddom." The African American or black cast doing the panel, and I merely use that as a descriptor, not as an offense. It's a descriptor because you have to know that they're actually of that class, because then you know, okay, this might go there with the minority stories, and it does. The rap community, two of them are in the rap community, right? So one in the rap, they like it. The lady who's a bodybuilder, she doesn't care for it so much, but she's okay with them being rappers. The third person was more of a blogger person, and they were upset about somebody. I think somebody in the audience brought it up, and then they repeated it. They brought up that in Mortal Kombat 11, which has been advertised on the internet on the Because Science show. It was using woke and using other terms, SJW terms, as though the pejorative becomes they're going to reinvent it, put it in there. And it was that didn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because, and the other slavery stuff that happened to the subplot, that's not the thing that didn't work. The woke didn't work because the alt-right loves that word. They think it's like a word that, and these guys didn't like that because it sounds very derogatory to such movements that where there's people who are, use it incorrectly. So yeah, it would be very, it wouldn't count so much. It would be very, yeah. Um, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work because it's not. It's too cliched and it's too now, and it makes the game immediately cliched and dated. It would be like referencing uh, Slim Jim, slip into a Slim Jim from the '80s, the Jim Beef Jerky with the wrestler, or it would be like I'm Loving It or McDonald's a few years ago, 15 years ago or so. It wouldn't make sense. It would date the story immediately, and you would know that it's from the 2019. So that was my point as well. Also, much of the rap fans are actually suburban white kids, and and apparently the one of them is not a gangster rap though. He does rap that doesn't have really swearing in it. He just does like fun rap, and yeah, it's different. Yeah, so I guess it's the point about the different panels so far have been on the theme of inclusionary, on the theme of make people feel comfortable at a convention, dressing the way they should or whatnot, doing what they're going to do, make them feel comfortable and don't insult their clothing or whatever, or their costume and say it sucks or something. It's like you can say that, oh, this might make it look better, or that's a good interpretation, or something like that. I think that's all the guy meant when he said to his son that it was a good black interpretation of the costume. I think all the guy meant was, yeah, okay. I don't think he meant it to be mean. He just said it. There was a guy that said that apparently previously, not at Fanime. Then I went on to watch the Star Blazers thing. Well, it's actually supposed to be Yamato 2202. It's the sequel to Yamato 2199, which came out a few years ago. It's sort of the Comet Empire, the reboot of that. You can look at all the Star Blazers timeline up and whatnot and see what that is, and the Yamato timeline was the original manga that an anime that was the precursor to, in many ways, to all of them. It was the original Yamato stuff. The original Star Blazers was shown way back in the 70s and early 80s, before Robotech or Macross, which became Robotech. So you can look all that up. I won't go into the details of what all that is, but it was okay. It was a sort of a reboot. It was fine. I mean, I sat there for an hour, and watched it, hour and 20 minutes or something. That was the whole thing. I think that was the whole thing. I might have missed one episode. But I had to go elsewhere to go to other things. There was the dealer's room and whatnot. Let's see what I got in here. Okay, several hours later, I went to a panel called Cthulhu for President, done by a very snarky but well-known blogger, internet person, and I can't remember the name. It was not Angry Joe. Anyway, or Angry Review Guy. It was somebody else, very similar, though. And he was one of the, I think it actually is one of the former Channel Awesome people. But I'm blanking on his name. But he was doing, ripping the Trump ears and all that. The Cthulhu will just eat all of his enemies and clone the ones that he doesn't like and make them suffer by having their clones get eaten. And of course, Cthulhu would like abortion because then he could eat more infants. Because Cthulhu's a big sea monster thing, kind of a big squid thing, shapeshifter tentacle thing. It's in the Mountain of Madness and other books I probably had to read in school. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, was loosely based on the Mountains of Madness. So, and also to an extent, Biohazard, which became Resident Evil. It's also very, very much a Lovecraftian H.P. Lovecraft, who was actually kind of an ass, kind of racist, but he did write these interesting science fiction stories that people have glommed onto because the other is the alien. Of course, Lovecraft was thinking, and you could do a big Lovecraft panel if you want to. There are people out there that have done it. There's a guy named Jason Colavito that talks about Lovecraft on the internet. He wasn't there at the panel. Anyway, so yeah, he asked for comments and suggested commentary after a while, and he would insult each person that came up. And it's funny that yesterday, they were saying don't do that. But what if the panelist is being literally a douche on purpose, or a jerk and whatever? Some of these people got back into line. They're in the back of the line, and I had the shirt on and the hat because I'd taken off the cat outfit, and it just so happens that black shirt and the lanyard is identical to the runner people that are supposed to do the kind of monitoring the room. I wasn't intending to be that, but some of the people were upset. They were coming up to the back of the line thinking I was one of the. Oh, I'm not staff. But yeah, chill out. No, I'm not on staff. It's okay. Yeah, he's just snarky. He's just obnoxious on purpose. He's playing a bad guy. He totally was, and yeah. But yeah, after the we go back a little bit, backtrack to the there's a scene on there. I think I've kind of explained it pretty much though. What do you do about a con person that says something really, really strange? I don't know. I guess you can't be mean to him. I don't know, but there was this one con guy, who came up to you, and I didn't realize it at the moment that he said it, but he was asking me to get a hold of the voice actor who does Teddy Ruxpin, because I had the Teddy Ruxpin, and so that he could appear at a convention and meet this guy. The guy was a little funny in the head, and I'm just a fan. I don't really have, I wasn't mean. I said, I don't have connections. I just have a toy with me, and I'm in a costume and playing a character, cosplaying. So you're cosplaying. Kind of didn't get it. I don't know Bill Benson. I don't even know if that guy's still alive. Bentel. I know the guy who created Teddy Ruxpin died, but I don't know about the voice actor. He'd be probably in his 70s by now. That's odd. Of course, Teddy Ruxpin, the character in the sketch there, remarks that he's special, but not in a special way. But yeah, I don't know. So then we go on to the next panel where there are con stories, and three snarky guys. The fourth of which shows up late with a lizard head, top of it like a lizard mask, which he's pulled up. It's not really a lizard. Under his human mask, and so he's out there doing his thing, and fans are coming up and asking about their con stories, and one of the people in the room was upset that at one point he had a girlfriend he's trying to impress, taking her to a convention. He'd watched all of Ranma 1, 2. I've only seen 2 episodes of that. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, it has cute manga girls in it. They kind of all do. Other than that, I couldn't say. There's a robot in there somewhere, so that's cool. Robot, but but I keep thinking of Gundam when I think of it, so I don't think it's the same thing. Actually, but what is odd is that I watched the entire first series of Tenchi Muyo at one point, which is a soap opera fantasy uh, uh, that they still know about to this day. It's now considered a classic, which is weird. Um, and it's the one where where his little rabbit friend is a spaceship, turns into a living ship, runs around spaceship. Which is kind of cool. But it was also mostly a love story fantasy. But yeah, so needless to say, this guy's girlfriend eventually ran off with a guy who thought he was his friend at Lion Con. Remember Lion Con 2013? I reported on that on the Kal Kat show. Yeah, 2013. He was there. Some of these guys were at the Lion Con. And that was the year after the 2012 thing, and nobody talked about it. That was the year that even Baycon was kind of sucked. It wasn't very good. 24. It was it was kind of They moved in 2015, so yeah, there was some interesting stuff there, but they didn't address the other stuff. I think that was it the David Weber one, or was that 2014 with David Weber? That was at least a little more interesting. And then there was the final one. I think it was 2015. Yeah, that was Baycon. They moved up north. My con story was the Ghostbuster story. I already told you about that. Where I did a panel. I was on a panel. My first panel. Haven't been on one again since then. But anyway, so Ghost Hunters panel that the moderator didn't show up. He's probably busy drinking somewhere. But yeah, they mentioned that too. People drinking at Fanime and sneaking and drinking. One of the con stories was that the last time they did this panel, which was at Con Stories last year, there was a drunk guy in the panel. It was all, I remember that. The guy near me goes, "Was it you?" I was like, "No." No, that was the night before. It wasn't booze. It was an edible. Oh. Mm. Yeah, yeah. So I didn't do anything like that this time. I don't think the Psycho Donut had anything in it, or the Shirley Temple drink in the space movie. Shirley Temples don't have anything in it. So yeah. Yeah, so the next one was what was the next one? Was that Con Stories? Was it? Yeah. Dealer's Room. Yeah. Yeah. 5 p.m. Mm-hmm. The stuff Dealer's Room looked like there were up to 20,000 people toward the end there. A lot of them. This is day 2. The other version of this day 2 you're going to find in there, it's like badly. The frame rates, yeah. I was squatting down and looked stupid. Yeah, so yeah, if you. It's like they were pointing out in the tolerance panel on the other one, it's like, if you're really that obsessed over whether their costume doesn't look like a proper Sailor Moon or a proper like Ash Ketchum or something, or proper something else, you probably don't need to comment. You really? You need to? Just to prove you're right? No, you don't need to. The hair's the wrong color. That sword would be the wrong color. Like, don't do that. Oh, apparently, some of the people are pointing out some of these cons that that character wouldn't look like that because you're not busty enough, or reversed, she's too busty and you wouldn't be. Yeah, you're flat. That's messed up. It's like body shaming. Yeah, so it's like no, if you clever interpretation of the costume or something, it'd be nice. Yeah, I realize they're socially awkward. They're not going to be, thinking and stuff. And yeah, if you go to a snarky panel called Cthulhu for President, be prepared to have the guy ripping everybody, because he's obviously an insult comic. It's not cool, but that's kind of what you went into the panel for, to be insulted. I would have asked him about Lovecraft's racism, but it was funny when somebody brought up his arch rival and the Cthulhu's arch rival. He got all upset because he was obviously acting. But yeah, was it like Pasteur, I think, or something like that? She really didn't like Louis Pasteur for some reason. I guess, yeah. It's little strange. But the Star Blazers thing was, Yamato thing was kind of strange. They added the spiritual protoculture thing in there. It's kind of from Robotech. It's odd. Yeah, so it was for Macross. It was just Macross. Yeah. Yeah, if I did a panel, it would be on the influence of Transformers, pop culture, the whole lineage of the series, including the Japanese ones. I would address the Japanese ones as well, because there were Japanese spin-offs of it. In fact, it started as Diaclone over there. I would touch on Robotech and Macross a little bit. And it would open the floor for discussion through the whole thing. It'd be very, yeah, make it serious. I would be very, informal. People would ask about stuff. And I don't know. Yeah, there would inevitably be some smart aleck in the audience that would be all, so in that episode of that story where the robot was doing that, there's a spaceship, and he's like, what did you think of the color of Rick Hunter's hair or something? And was waving the wrong way. And thinking, I didn't notice. So I was like, I feel like, notice that. No, if somebody said, remember the photons, remember to turn off those photons, then I would laugh. Be all like, yeah, that was a funny scene. That was a New Generation, Mass Climate Masopita. Although in the Japanese one, it says turn off your engines. So they kept, Masek messed it up. He got stuff wrong. It was like, yeah, like when he messed up the whole Cowboy Dusty Errors thing. It was like they made him sound like he was completely a bad guy. He wasn't though. He was deserted by his unit. Yeah, he's getting them back for deserting them. So he wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He was an anti-hero, which is different. But in the American one, they made him a bad guy. Because no, they won't understand revenge because kids are going to watch this and they won't understand. It was a very teenage to young adult kind of show. It wasn't meant for little kids, really. Robotech, Macross, and Robotech. Macross was even more adult. It was, the Do You Remember Love movie, I would say, is PG-13. Even Y14. Yeah, it's not that it's racy or anything. There's a little nudity in it, but it's kind of violent and it's kind of messed up, but it's really visually interesting. But yeah, and it's a retcon of the whole series. So, well, Macross series, of course. The other two are separate, but you know that. Anyway, so yeah. And if well, I think it's creative to have, if somebody's, doesn't look exactly like a character in there. There's some pictures in the library here. It's a lady playing Drax, and she's not doing it as Drax, but it's like, okay, is somebody going to complain that a lady can't play Drax? I think it's kind of funny that she, that works. Okay with it. Why not be creative? Why can't you be creative? But the odd thing is, though, is when some of the fans think that you're actually the character. I think that's one of the problems I haven't brought up specifically with some of these panels on the movements and so forth. So it is socially awkward. People think that they have a brain fart. They think, this person that's dressed up as Misty or something, or Ranma or Kinchigo or whatever her name is. Um, yeah, like that's that character they're playing. That's them somehow in their head. They're like, no, they're just playing a character, and they're in character. So they might be acting like the character. Doesn't mean they are, and it doesn't mean that you necessarily coming up to them being weird is going to be able to like have relations with them somehow. It's really bizarre. Is I've encountered more than one people asking questions at some of these, even this year, pertaining to like their shipping, which is that's like Kirk and Spock, but with anime, and Rule 34 and going up there. Oh, you're two characters. You're dressed like these two characters. I ship. Not just dudes saying this, girls saying that. It's not just inclusive of guys, because there are actually more girls at this convention than guys. There's actually a little bit more. It's not 50-50. It's maybe 60-40. Well, maybe not that high. 65-45. It's more girls than guys. So there are nerd girls. Lots of them. And and even they are like asking weird questions like, yeah, can your characters pretend like my shipping story you haven't read? Well, no, because I have no idea. They should say that. They should say, no, I don't know your story. I can't really imitate it. If it's gross, I'm not going to do it. It's like, ew. Definitely not going to do it. Although there was, and now I'm going to end with the two ultra confrontations of yet more of those people out there with costuming is sinful, costuming sinner people out there in the cat outfit. I walked kind of by them and just past them. I said kind of off to the side, Jesus didn't say anything about costuming. So I, oh, it's that guy again. And later on, there was a guy in the one of them had gone into the convention. He's walking around with a sinner sign. And then the cat dude come out of the Star Blazer movie. It was around that time. And around the time of that Teddy Ruxpin thing with the other guy who wanted to know about the Teddy Ruxpin voice actor. I don't know him. Anyway, so this other guy, that's when I went upstairs after the Teddy Ruxpin voice actor guy. It's a little bit flummoxed at what he was talking about. And then there's the sinner guy right there at the top of the stairs. And I was like, sir, did you get rejected by a cat girl? I bet that's why you're doing this. You have to pick a bunny girl. To which point a bunny girl, roughly over here somewhere, starts going, not me. Yeah, not her. No, it was a cat. Yeah, I'm not sure if he left, but but yeah, that's probably all it is. That's the reason they're so adamant about like going after the con people is they just weren't invited. Now he had to have paid to get in though, to get upstairs. So he bought tickets, so he's there. So is he just being like a performance artist? That'd be kind of funny. It'd be also kind of funny if one of them was Jesus again and a devil. They've mentioned that one before. I think that was the Line Con one. I think it was 2013 or maybe 2012. One of those, and I saw that actually happen. That was funny. Okay. My flock. That was funny. I didn't mention that in con stories, but that was there, and yeah. That happened a couple times actually. So yeah, there's my rundown. This today, day 2. Okay, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. That's Kitty Kid's a Marshall's Bautist. And this is Fanime Con, day 3, 26th, Sunday. I'm going to shave tonight. And I'm going to look tomorrow like I'm on way out of the hotel. And that, yeah, I wait till freshen up or whatever. I'll have some costume changes involving shirts, but really nothing with the big bag. There was really, maybe this time tomorrow there will be an opportunity for a Teddy Ruxpin joke panel, because there were just too many people. Yeah, it was all a gimmick anyway. He's what you call a MacGuffin in the story. He's there, but he's not supposed to do, like Kitty Key was when Kitty Key was first introduced as the Kitty Key movie of, I think it was like 2015. He's here or something, and he didn't actually do anything. That was the MacGuffin. He was there. He's returned. This is very similar to that outfit. In fact, it might be that outfit. He was also at Bacon. Yeah, so early on, we follow all the rules of conduct on the show early on. And whenever we have a picture, that's an official picture, not the video so much, but the pictures, they're all with permission. There was a convention fan that got woke. There's that expression, that new expression. White guy, and he decided that he would be chivalrous and come. Turned out he wasn't security or anything, but he says, "Were you taking pictures of the convention goers?" It's odd that he would say that. Not just costuming people. I said, "Well, I might have." "Oh yeah." "Oh, can I see the picture?" "Oh, it was a picture of me." And then, well, I do ask their permission every time that picture. So, oh, okay. But he asked me about the picture like twice, and then he said, "Oh, okay, you got permission." I was like, "Yeah, I get permission. I'm not a mosquito." And then afterward, I was thinking maybe because I was getting a little paranoid, security, but it was just security was there. But it turns out that dude was not security. He was just a guy. In fact, earlier this particular con, because I had this black shirt with the lanyard from day 1, and they'd taken off part of the costume because it was hot. Because it was hot on day 1. It was much cooler today and rainy and stuff. Somebody thought I was one of the gopher runners, and said, "Oh, why aren't you doing your position?" Whatever. So I'm not one of the runners. I'm not on staff. See? They're like, "Oh, I'm not on staff." It only happened at Baycon one year. Yeah, that time of LineCon, because there was LineCon at Fanime, and I wasn't able to get in that year, so there were 2 LineCons there. Went to the boring ass Baycon thing where they weren't doing anything, because it was the year after 2012. They didn't do anything about it. It's like, there's your theme. I guess they had to plan things in advance, which they could have, because they had full 8 months to plan something like that. But I guess they didn't want to go there. Anyway, that was Baycon. This is Fanime, where they thought that it was either with them or without them. I'm sure he had gone to. I'm sure he was in the panel, costuming his consent, and he was thinking, well, I'm going to be chivalrous, and then the cat girls will like me, or whatever, or the bunny girls. It's not really the way it works, though. You can't just run up to people randomly and go like, "I saw something." Oh, the guy was shorter than me. I suppose it was a taller guy. But and I was in a martial art outfit dressed up. But yeah. Once he saw that I was not a creeper, then it was okay. So I went on to the Macross movie. I didn't mention much about that during the slide section because of the music that was constantly playing all the time during this one. Probably be the same thing tomorrow. We got about 20 minutes tonight, but we've got about 45 minutes, something like that the first time. Yesterday was 38 minutes, something like that. It's a little shorter than that. But there's almost none of the Teddy Ruxpin thing. So again, it's a MacGuffin. This is not the Blair Witch parody movie. This is a movie where costuming people appear. It's a Fanime Con, but he just happens to be there. It's the 25th anniversary of Fanime Con. I got 2 dance numbers in there. Kind of cool. But I didn't do any. But so I will probably wear these pants though, just to be different. So I won't be wearing the jeans on the way out, just because they don't really look like part of a costume. I'm just wearing jeans. Although that was a costume. Actually, that black and red shirt was, black and red jacket was identical to the film The Kid Who Would Be King, which just came out a few months ago. It just happened to be. Yeah. Anyway, so it wasn't. So I'm not gonna do something else. I'll probably do something halfway space alien thing. There aren't any Star Trek things. That was kind of a Kirk at one point. This is more of a Chimera thing. I think I could probably do something like the TNG jacket with something else similar to that. This black shirt is stinky. Take this off. Yeah, so the Macross thing. Macross Delta. It's a very, they didn't show the last 4 minutes. It was pretty much over. Because they had to cut to the next one. Because they were running late, and they didn't show the subtitles right away. They had to go back and play the subtitles. Whoever was running the computer that was playing it was a computer hooked up to the projector. Yeah, it was a computer. Somebody's laptop, which is very clever that they were able to do that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's probably the way to do it. If you want to show your collection of Macross Robotech movies, hook it up to the projection screen and just up on the wall. Maybe that's how that one day show Chimera in the convention center. For free, of course, just like the other ones would be. That would be cool. If you say, I should put my Star Trek movie up. It's free. Just come and watch it. It'll be on all day. You know, get 2 hours. 4 hours to show that. Oh, yeah. That's not gonna, yeah, that's not, we're not gonna do that, but it's gonna be online. It'll be easier that way. Somebody else can, yeah. But the Macross movie, it's Macross Delta, it's a new show. It's 2018. There's a little bit of a connection to that Macross 2 that's considered not canon. They kind of went toward that, because they had in Macross Frontier, they had the Cheryl Nome and the other group and the other thing. Or was that Macross 2 plus, Macross Plus, and then 7. 7 had Firebomber, and then there was Frontier, which had the Rakshas. That's right. Yeah, that's it. So this one was, they're on a planet in the story where one of the Macross ships is. And on the planet, they're affected by the Vaj, the Vag. It's literally called that. The Viagra virus from Frontier, and it has the bad guy Techo Knight people. So it's got a little bit of a crossover with one of the other Robotech series, Southern Cross, which is kind of neat, and they kind of take over. So there's this weird, yeah, and it was one of his other shows. It was Southern Cross, Macross, Southern Cross, and Space Climber were stuck together. And this one, they kind of paid homage to it. They kind of did that, which was neat, and a little bit of Escaflowne, a little bit of a number of other things. Yeah, in case you ever want to see it, I won't give it away. But yeah, yeah, there was this mysterious Lady M who's clearly supposed to be some kind of clone of Min-May. It's really obvious. It's not really a spoiler. It's really obvious. And there is a battle scene very reminiscent of my Macross 7 homage, showing 2 SDF Macrosses fighting each other, very similar to the city fight. I had not seen this movie until today, so I didn't know there was a scene where 2 Macrosses fight in it. But I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's right up there with what happened. The spiritual that takes over the galaxy, it makes the song take over the galaxy. It's very similar to Macross 2, the Illuminator. So it could lead to Macross 2. Macross 2 took place 80 years after the other Macross show. Then it wasn't supposed to be canon, and now it almost is. So we do get a grandchild of Macross. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to arrange the appearance of Sparkle and her boyfriend tomorrow or not. So that's what that was about. Not sure. So let's go on to. Let's go on to. I mean, there's thousands of people there, right? Go on to more Macross. Yeah, I mentioned the cities. Let's go on to the rest of the con, I guess. I went to other. Let's see the panels I went to. Okay, I went to. For lunch, I went to Togo's, but I did that first when I showed up. I ate at 11. Then Macross Delta was at noon. But at 3 p.m. was Dreams and Memory and Anime. And before that, I found the new candy shop downtown. Social Polity, the half-vegan fusion restaurant, is gone. So if they're going to that, that's gone. It went out of business. It was one of the places opened by San Jose State students in the 2000s as I was leaving it was actually being opened, no, a little later, 2011 when I was doing the magazine class. When I came back for the magazine class. So yeah. So that was cool. I went out of business though. So the other one that was going into business was the magazine was Helium, Matt Mountford, and the other thing, which I don't think he's on anymore. And the other one was Psycho Donuts. You've probably heard of that. It's real famous. And they do the donuts at the convention. Psycho Donuts. So, yeah. That's a San Jose State person. So, yeah, unlike the guy who thought I knew the voice of Teddy Ruxpin, the animator, I did know of the people that did Helium Magazine. Don't have any connections now. He's left. I don't know him now. Matt Mountford. So, there's a name. So, yeah, Dreams and Emery. So at the candy shop, I get this, like, ginger beer. I had one last year. I had another one. Local thing. It was more like a ginger root beer, so I don't think it had anything in it. But some of the con people I went to the convention, they thought maybe I was bummed with a beer or something. It's not. Oh, okay, it's like a near beer thing. It just looks a little like one. But yeah, yeah, it was odd. It was talking about different mangas and animes that do a dream sequence or memory sequence, including an anime that was ripped off to make Inception. Although I didn't think from the clip they showed that it was all that much like Inception, except that there was a dream machine in it that was being used to get into dreams. But if the city had gone all weird and wonky and folded in upon itself, then I'd be like, yeah, they got that from that. But no, they didn't do that part. So I don't know how much close it was. The other one, he was saying, oh, this is like Up, because it was out 8 years before Up, but it wasn't really this other dream story. It was more like Waterworld. And the guy was diving down into the ocean to get it to below the city. Yeah, that clip wasn't like, maybe at some point it is like Up, but not there. So, and then there's, yeah, so, let's see. Let's see what we got here. Well, apparently I didn't write the last one. The last one was at 4. Or 4 to 5. Or maybe it was 5. Might have been 5. And it was a panel on make anime great again. It was the snarky guys from the Cthulhu panel. That Cthulhu program. And they basically made random, like, internet meme statements out of stuff. Mainly about Shaggy and Jackie Chan and stuff like that. And Toonami is awesome. And you figure they're millennials, so they're going to do that. The guys up there were probably in their early 30s. So, yeah, late 20s, early 30s. So they were going on about stuff that I hadn't heard of course. Yeah. Then I went up there afterward and they said, well, there should have been a Chuck Norris meme, and they're all, oh, that's way dead. Yeah, we don't want that. Well, I said, it's not as dead as Rickroll. I said, no, that's even more so. Rickroll. Yeah, that's even more so. Anything 10 years old or more is going to be ancient to them. But yes, the other stuff was pretty dead. But yeah, so yeah, this was Sunday. Oh yeah, and yes, there was. And as for crazy people, there's going to be a little mention on there of crazy lady on the train. But on this version, I tell you what she actually said. There was this crazy black lady on the train. She was like fidgeting with her hair and stuff, and cussing at this dude she got on the train with. But she didn't really get on the train with him. What it was is they got on the train at the same time, and she was like tripping balls. If she had balls, she'd be tripping them. She apparently thought that her daddy was once her mama, or her mama was once her daddy. Somehow they had tried to impregnate her with her transgender daddy's sperm or something. It didn't make any sense. If she was her mom and now she's her daddy, then it's not going to work. And then there's something about Alabama thrown in there, and there's something about like anything you can think of. She was totally insulting random people on the train, pretending to be talking into a Bluetooth, which wasn't on, and a cell phone, which she didn't have. So she's like, "Oh, you bitch! Damn you, bitch! You bitch! You stole my boyfriend, but I'm the child of Justin Bieber and stuff." And she's all cussing and swearing and shit. And this white guy got all uppity at one point when he was going to get off at Fair Oaks. So it was on the Mountain View train. I was on the wrong train anyway, so they're going to switch trains at Tasman. He's like, "Oh, I could take you. Quit making noise." Oh, and she's like, "Oh, shit, I run track. I take you out." But I don't even think that she was saying it to him. I think she was on such another planet that she didn't realize she was making a scene on the train because she was that gone. On whatever drug she was on something. And I don't think she realized, like, what she was really doing, if anything. There was a security lady on the train, but it wasn't train security. She was also black. She didn't say nothing, which was odd. And at one point she commented, I know she was a little aware of her surroundings. She commented on the martial arts outfit I was wearing. And I was just kind of enjoying the show. No, I wasn't giggling at her or anything. But, "Oh, the karate guy over there, the karate guy on the train, shit." Oh, it was like, that was all. It's a costume. I was a karate. Don't worry about it. Shit. And once I got off the train at the Tasman, I said, "Man, I hope that lady can find Jesus." Yeah, I didn't insult her. I said, "Find Jesus." The other dude, the black dude happened to get off the train with me, and he's all, "Yep, she was on something." I said, "Yep, she was on, I don't know what she was on, but she was on something." She's tripping. Tourette's drugs or something. She sounded kind of like the Tourette's guy from the internet. Very similar, kind of like, I'm yelling and screaming at this girl that isn't there on the phone that was not there. The Bluetooth was not on. She was talking into the wall. Because she was crazy. Exactly. I said at the bus stop. I had to be a little bit quiet at the train stop because one dude might have come over and gone like, "Oh." But yeah, she was nuts. Yeah, I don't even think she was aware that other people were on the train with her and that were, like, there. Because when that one dude tried to confront her, he was like, she, like, almost didn't acknowledge his existence. Sort of the reverse of when, years ago, when Joel Hackett, the media play from Pine Hill. The reverse of that. Because I snapped him out of it. Yeah, but there's a cop car siren going in the background. That makes this place sound real ghetto. But, yeah, that's, yeah, so there was nothing weird and so on. And I'm figuring the dude from earlier who was complaining about the pictures had probably, thinking of afterwards, since he sounded kind of special as well, that probably minutes before I had taken a picture of myself, actually, the last picture that was on there was of me, not of someone else. But the last picture that I took at that point, he'd probably been called out on it. And he was probably like, "I know what I'll do. he was probably taking pictures of people surreptitiously, and he's called out on it. So he figured, I know what I'll do. I'll pass the buck. I'll go over to the next person and tell them not to do it, even if they're not really doing it, because then I'll look better. Yeah, and maybe I'll get a girlfriend. Oh, that's probably what he was thinking. I bet that's exactly what he was thinking. He's like, no, that's not how that works. He probably went back over to the girl that he was getting turned off by. He probably said, see, I was chivalrous to somebody. I told him to get lost. It's like, that's not chivalrous. That's just annoying. No. That's probably not what happened, but it could be close to what happened, because I can tell that socially accurate what they're thinking. It's cold reading. It's not psychic. So tomorrow there will be Fanime, or Fanime, I probably said Fanime Con. More Fanime. Yeah. Last. Greetings, this is Kal Kat, the Kal Katster. This is a brief quickie review of the commentary review of Day 4 of the Fanime Con. The other group was not actually there. And wanted to go, but he ended up not going, so he wasn't there at all. So the SAP thing didn't happen. So yeah, they did play music that Sparkle and like, but yes, they did not have that. So yeah. So yes, yeah, the fan convention thing. The only panel I went to was on the Wario panel. He's one of the Mario characters. That Wario, he's a tall, sort of purple guy. That it was those guys from last time, the ones that are after Crunchyroll, because one of them's in the Crunchyroll thing. So he's like, I'm gonna make fun of them. Yeah. So yeah, the fix is in. They joked that the next Wario thing would be a Grand Theft Auto ripoff, taking place in Vice City, which is the plot of, loosely, one of the rumored plots of GTA 6. It's not, but it's just a rumor. Yeah, so I don't even think they're really, if they are doing a 6, it's not going to be just going back to the same place. I wouldn't think they'd do that. They want to do something different. Yeah, because it's been years. It's been 2013 was when they launched GTA 5. Anyway, so yeah, they come up with something new. A new environment or something. Don't go back in time and do Vice City again. You've already done that. Anyway, so yeah. There's a hilarious fight scene on there. I don't want to just review the stuff that already's got to be on the slides. The teddy bear stuff didn't quite work, but it was funny having him as a MacGuffin. That you could use footage from this re-edited. There's hours of it. There's probably a good hour and a half, 2 hours of footage. The last day was roughly half hour. So yeah, you got at least 2 hours, if not more, a little more, to mess with. And we did. We had enough left over. We did last year, for instance, to do a fake fashion show with all the extended clip footage that got left on the cutting room floor. The hilarious 5-part fashion show with Kal Kat fake dubstep / slam rap music in the background. But it's not really dubstep. It was more of techno dubstep. It had a keyboard, little like weird lines and things thrown in, like beatnik, oh yeah, and whatever. Yeah, you could make a Housetrap Project thing out of this too. It would still work. Anyway, so you could also do that. there's enough weird going on. There were superheroes, weren't as many. There weren't any Star Trek people, so Kirk showed up the last day to be Kirk. There wasn't anyone chasing after him, although early on I went down there with the ears and the foxtail on the black jacket from the black hooded jacket. Jokingly, one of the security people goes, "Oh, watch out for the guy with the black jacket and the ears stuff." And then I took that off, and I didn't have it for the rest of the evening. So then I went in the elevator, came around back, and came up as Kirk, and they're like, "Where'd he go?" Yes, I changed into someone else. Actually, I changed into Kirk. I half changed, and then I went into the game room and changed into Kirk. But the pants, I just pulled the pants up over the other one, so I didn't actually get naked anywhere. That'd be weird. Already saw that earlier. Yeah, there was dude with no pants. Oh, but yeah. There were also a lot of bums lying around, half asleep, in building alleyways and stuff. I went over for lunch. I went to the burger place. No, it wasn't a burger place. It was the Philly cheesesteak place, and had their Friday mushroom thing, surprise thing. It wasn't shrooms, but it had mushrooms. It wasn't psychedelic. Yeah, there was a teacher from San Jose State in there. You could tell she was a professor. She looked like it. She had that look about her. I would say she was in her mid-50s, early 60s. And she was in there, like looking all official and stuff. So, yeah. I almost bumped into her and said, "Excuse me, Professor." Oh, that's right. She's like, "How'd you know I was I went to San Jose State." Oh. Then that was it. She just looked the part. She looked like a good professor. She was. I don't know what part of the school she was teaching in, but she was a professor. Yeah, so I'm gonna guess since they tore down Sweeney Hall that it wasn't Sweeney Hall. Probably, I would guess, judging by maybe a scientist or something. No. Liberal arts, probably. That's it. Yeah, arts teacher. Yeah, or English teacher. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, she rather matronly. So yeah. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, she wasn't hot. Or she was not. She was not available for anything. No. Oh yeah. There was apart from that, I did not describe her. So if she ever happens upon the blog, she won't know. Which person I'm referring to at which place. Anyway, so yeah. Because anyway, so yeah, they kept going in and out of the dealer's room and the art gallery like 3 times. It looks like the art gallery part was hard to film, and it had a smaller bag so I could maneuver around more. I don't really need to do the bag gimmick next time, I don't think. It didn't really work. I just had to lug this bag around everywhere. Next it'll be Comic-Con, Silicon Valley in August. That's already paid for. So yeah, here's the thingy. Fanime thingy. Oh yeah, Fanime swag. Fanime swag. Fanime swag. Ooh. Let's see if there's a grab bag of goodies here. Yeah. Here's Teddy Ruxpin. Not from Fanime, but here is Toby Bread Kitty. Meow meow. Looks like either Houdini or Quark. Toby Bread Kitty. Bread Kitty. Bread Kitty. Here's the Teddy Ruxpin. Of course, he's not from Fanime. He's Teddy Ruxpin's coming apart. G1 Teddy Ruxpin. I thought it'd be funny. No crazy people on the train either. I was the crazy person on the train. Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Oh, I'm drunk. The Moabra and Cadabra. They are actually from Anime Palace. So if you want to pick them up, the Anime Palace has a website. And they're made in China. Choking hazard. So don't eat this. Just do not eat this. Yeah. Try to eat that. Yeah. So Foxtail from last year. I was doing the usual suspects thing. I had this thing on me at all times in each different costume. And so they'll go back and be looking for that troublemaker at the convention. And then they'll look through the video footage from all the other ones and they go, he was there the whole time. In plain sight with this thing. Okay, yeah. The silver anniversary, 25 years of Fanime Con. This was introduced to me by the Stories, who then promptly never went back. I was there the year that Drea was the Charizard. I believe that was the Line Con one, and then that was it. So here is, and I got the character wrong. I've been looking at her friend the whole time, but actually she was the Scales. Here's a fox, so it's appropriate. Yeah, it's a fox, right? Oh, so, so yeah, silver anniversary, Fanime Con swag. The Sky is Cowpoke shirt, disguise, the Kirk outfit, the ears. Now there was a funny thing about the ears. I sat down at the table. There's a table in the beginning, and there was a part where they weren't objecting to the ears and the costume. One of them was all that these other people sat down at the table, and it was an empty table. They sat there. It became a full table quickly. And the ears were actually on backwards. And one of them said, another person said as they were walking by, no, they're wrong because they're backwards. And it was all, oh. They're back. They're looking the wrong way. They're backwards. You can't have it backwards. Lots of candy. Candy. And I stopped by. I'm gonna need to plug these guys because I keep buying from them. I'm not sponsored by them at all, but World Designs shirts. They make the Fanime ones too. Best T-shirts in fandom. WorldDesigns.com. There's their QR code thingy. It's not a sponsor. I'm just saying that's where I got them. If you want to pick up my funny shirts like last year, the sarcasm is a superpower and all that other stuff, that's them. So, but this one is another Meow shirt. Dark Side of the Meow, Dark Side of the Moon, and Cat reference and physics reference. This one is big because it is for Mark's cards. He's going to come here and he's going to have con swag. Yay! Even though he didn't go. Yeah. There. Dark Side of the Mew. Con swag. Excellent. So I think that's it on the con swag. Con swag. There's a bunch of trinkets and things. I think there's an LGBT pin in there too. Supposed to be funny. Because I thought it'd be funny to post that something. Well, not because I'm friendly to the community. I'm not in it. I'm just friendly to it. Now let's see. I pretend to be bi, but actually, I don't know what to say. Anyway, Not really. Okay. But anyway, so Bai is one of them. So let's see. Here we have a bunch of weird little. Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's not Conswag. I don't know how that ended up in there. Anyway, somebody must have stuck to it. But yeah. Also, about the protest group out there. They were still out there. Oddly enough, some of their biblical references were weird. Like at one point they were talking about going through the straight gate and not the warped gate. Warped gate. Referring to the temple and the sheep gate and go through the correct one and all that. And how that would allude to con people doesn't really make any sense other than, okay, maybe they were going the wrong path. But that's not what the passage is about. The passage is about something entirely different, having to do with going into the right side of the city temples to not get attacked by the masses for doing stuff. Another thing they did wrong was they were goading the convention people. At one point they were all like, "Come persecute us," was one thing they said, which was, of course, nobody did because they didn't care. So I commented on there. Yeah, they were literally shouting to get persecuted so they could get in trouble. There's a police car parked over there, and they weren't about to do anything. You know, if they saw the police car, we're not going to do anything. It was like, I commented, I don't think they care. But yeah. But at least once or twice somebody said, "Jesus didn't know anything." Didn't know anything about con people. Well, yeah, he wouldn't have. But here is just an odd little thing. Ew, I didn't want to just get a Chubibi cat thing. I wanted to get something weird. Certainly is weird. Yeah. I wanted it to look unusual and strange. I should have got a gray one. Houdini's more gray than brown, so it looks more like Quark, the previous cat. But that's alright. So these are, yeah, this is Abra. This is Kadabra. Yeah. They're slightly different, aren't they? No, wait a minute. No, they're just, no. I had it turned upside down. Okay, they're like bee cats or something. Weird. Yes. I bet Mark's Cards knows what they are. Oh, I know what those are. They're from, yeah. Probably never even watched that show. Anyway, so, yeah, that's it. That's my review of today. You can make a creepy horror movie out of it if you want to, or post it as Fanime Con or whatever. Yeah, so this is Fanime. Yeah, it worked. It was good. And toward the end, the security people didn't care if you had a badge or not. They were just, oh, just go in. I don't care. So, yeah. Oh, so naked. Well, a nearly naked guy. But that wasn't day one. Yeah. I didn't film him. I just saw him. So, yeah. So the last 2 days, it was too cold to be nearly naked, so there was nobody like that. Yeah. So it was like, you don't want to be, you're going to be freezing. But, yeah. Yeah. There could have been a final panel, but there wasn't. San Jose State instead, they tore down the AS house too, or took it away. Probably tore it down. So yeah, they did a bunch of renovations over there. So yeah, where I went to college. Anyway, so yeah. That's it.